What's up, guys? How you doing? Sorry about the stream earlier. Something happened with the damn the feed. I was like, it was like I don't know, like colors and shit like that. So I just shut it down. So I apologize for that. Haven't done a live in a while. I figured I'd do one first week out of OTAs. What's up, Trevor? How are you, bro? Some good news and some not so good news. Obviously, the not so good news, the injuries. Yo, what's up, bro? Apologies about the stream earlier. It was blotchy. It was doing one of those like colored things. I was like, oh man, I can't even see myself. So I shut it down and restarted it. But yeah, the injuries, they are what they are. You really can't do anything about them. The Croft one to me is I care and I don't care. I mean, I care because hey, it's a guy they brought in. It's a guy that they hope to make things better. But breaking the same foot that he had just broken last year in the first OTA practice. The knock on the guy is he's always hurt. I'll get to that in a few, Trevor. That's awesome news. That's awesome news. That's the biggest thing I extrapolated around about everything I've heard so far. But I've written him off for the first 7 to 9 weeks of the season. I think he's a PUP guy, and if the Bills get anything out of him this year, it's a bonus. I know Kroom tweaked his hammy. I'm looking to him to step up, and I'm looking for Dawson Knox, a guy that they just drafted. So those are the guys I'm looking at tight end. Lee Smith can do the dirty work, the blocking, the short yardage stuff, and they can count on those two to make up for whatever Croft doesn't bring in the pass game until he gets back, if he gets back at all. I mean, if Kroom and Knox are rolling, they might not even activate Croft at all and just keep him on there and just cut him at the end of the year and save a bunch of money. He's not under contract right now, but they'll get that done. A lot of the third round picks haven't signed yet for some reason. It's weird. A lot of teams have gotten a lot of their other rounds in, but they haven't signed their third rounders. I guess they're trying to slot them or something because that stuff kind of changes year to year. And when one or two guys get signed, the rest of them get signed. But that's the shitty news. I mean, today Quentin Spann had a thumb surgery. I kind of looked up recovery times for those type of things, especially for offensive linemen. That's a 6 to 8 week deal, especially for offensive linemen using their hands, pushing all that. Big guys. Fuck that up. So, I mean, I guess if you're gonna have these little nicks and bumps and little surgical procedures, I'm not interested in Randolph, man. He's a guy that he's got a big contract. He's productive, but he doesn't do a lot down the field. He averages under 10 yards a catch. He's older. I'd rather see what Kroom, Knox, maybe Croft if he gets back. Maybe one of the other guys. I'm not interested in I don't see the Rudolph trade as being something I'd like. I just don't have that itch for him. But those injuries, they suck. As long as it stays right there, I'm fine. Morse has been out there, not in a full capacity, but in some capacity. That's good news. Saw Beasley on the bike today. A few other guys were on the bike. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's May 28th. I'm not going to get all hot in the collar under the collar now. But everybody has these little types of things coming up, and you're never going to be 100%. It sucks, but it is what it is. Those are those things are probably the most negative to me. Outside of that, I kind of just sit there and hope for no injuries. But hearing about Josh Allen today, I went on Big Blue Kickoff Live and called in there and talked a little bit about Allen, and I just hearing about him today, slinging it, just looking really, really good, really, really crisp, especially in red zone, and a guy with his arm in tight windows. Remember, I don't know if you remember when Dick Duran said, well, you can't really throw the ball in the red zone or down inside the 5 because the bodies are packed in there and you really don't want to do that. I remember hearing those horrible, horrible sounds of the words that would come out of his mouth, and I would just be like, oh my God, this guy's our head coach. What a ball of sack. And hearing about Josh Allen just putting it here, putting it there, had a few tips. Nothing that doesn't happen in real life. One slipped through Knox's hands. He hit him on a couple other nice ones. Zay Jones on a few nice ones. So he was really making some plays. I heard Robert Foster's been looking really, really good as well. And I really think that that guy's going to step up and be the Bills' #1 wide receiver. I just have this real deep down feeling about him. He's going to ascend to another level. We're going to see anywhere between 60 to 70 catches from him for close to a G in yards and anywhere between 8 to 10 touchdowns. I'm really hoping that and he's done a lot of work on his own, Trevor. He's done a really lot of work on his own. Hey, what's up, bro? Um, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it because I finally want him to lay to rest some of the crap that gets spewed about him, and that was my main reason for calling the Giants show, because all the hate that Daniel Jones gets, it reminds me of the hate Josh Allen got. And I'll be the first to say I didn't want Josh Allen, but I took a step back and said, you know what, I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to give him a chance. I want to see what he's like, and then I got to see over time not only the physical gifts and the talent, but the competitive fire, the leadership, the poise, and just how he is. And hearing about Daboll today, telling him to take the reins of some of the offense and call the plays, that's huge. When a quarterback can take ownership of the offense, that is amazing. That's some of the stuff we never heard really about. Even Fitz couldn't change the play. Like Gailey had him locked into plays. Tyrod, we all knew he could not change plays. He was not allowed to change plays. So that's really, yeah. I saw what that piece of shit said, and I'm gonna be nasty about it because I feel like guys like him, guys like Pro Football Focus, guys that are in that analytics circle, I'm gonna be really, really rude about this. So forgive me, guys. I think they're a bunch of nerds who've never had the balls, the guts, nor the physical ability to ever play a sport in their life. So they want to be in the locker room. They want to be in and around the jock. So their only way to do that is to, spin, poke, prod, flip these numbers and say, well, hey, I don't. And he's a Patriot fan too. Let's be real about Aaron Schatz. He's a Patriot fan. I'm not saying that any quarterback that doesn't play the position the conventional way, the boom 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 boom, get it out. Any quarterback that kind of bucks the norm or goes against the grain, these conformists but yet analytic people, they tend to not like. They don't like those guys because it doesn't fit into their little box. They get defensive about that shit. They don't know how to quantify them being good, bad, or indifferent. They're just going to say, well, they're bad. They're bad. So guys like him are shit. What's up, Chris? How you doing, bro? What's up, man? Yeah, so I was just like, fuck him. I don't respect their opinion, man. I don't respect their opinion because like Chris Collinsworth owns a lot of shares in Pro Football Focus. A lot of these things, these numbers, you can spin numbers. I want to see what there's a lot more to playing quarterback than just simple. I mean, shit. I've seen tons of quarterbacks with decent completion percentage. You can inflate a completion percentage. You can manufacture that. I'm not saying it's not important, but a lot of times there's a lot more that goes into playing quarterback from a leadership standpoint, from a physical skill standpoint. Like I was watching this thing about Brett Favre, and he was being coached by guys that were so used to perfection at the quarterback position, from guys that coached Joe Montana, Steve Young, Mike Holmgren, Andy Reid, um, John Gruden was on that Green Bay staff. Steve Mariucci was on that Green Bay staff. And, they would all sit down with Brett and be like, yo, what are you looking at here? What are you looking at here? Yeah, I don't understand Chope's rationale with that. Loves Tyrod. I think he has I don't know, he has a liberal bias there or some shit like that. I don't know. But I'm like, why he liked him and why he doesn't like him. The analytics site like Tyrod too. That just goes to show, like, what are they watching? They're not watching the games. The Bills are a blurb. They're a side note. So a lot of times I don't watch or pay attention to what these types say because they don't watch the team. They merely look at a stat sheet or look at a spreadsheet and be like, bam, 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 this is what it is. That's why I shouted out the Giants guy today, because I said I respect you because you're a national guy, but you're also a Giants local guy, but you know the reasons why Allen was running. Most of the time, it was the offensive line. He had breakdowns. Did he have confusion? Of course. Quarterbacks sometimes have confusion. In the first half of the Super Bowl, as a matter of fact, a quarterback that's been in the league almost 20 years didn't know the Rams were in manner zone. He didn't. He was very much off. Tom Brady. So the best can get fooled. Okay, like the way that the level of just scrutiny that a quarterback will come under from play to play, especially a young one, is insane to me. Give the kid time to, like, veterans miss throw. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. If the guy, like, it's like Patrick Mahomes. I'm going off on a tangent. Patrick Mahomes is not going to throw 50 touchdown passes this year. Go look at the quarterbacks who have thrown 50 touchdowns, the history of it. They regress by 10 plus touchdowns the next season. Their totals go down by 10. That's a lot. That's a very hard thing to duplicate 2 years in. Yeah, it's just drops. It was bad offensive line play, no running game. At the end of it, he was the only offense the Bills had. He was the only thing that kept them on the field. And to me, that's a good thing when your quarterback, especially at a rookie could carry an offense like that. That to me is encouraging. But how this offensive line comes together is huge too, because he cannot continue to do that. That running game needs to step up. That offensive line needs to keep him clean. Does he need to get better? Of course he does. Of course he does. That goes without saying. But I'm from what I saw, I'm willing to sit back, watch, and allow that to happen. Yeah, he led the team, but that's the optimum phrase there is he led them. He led them in more ways than one. That was Elway. Elway for a long time played with nobody, man. I remember he had wide receivers like Ricky Nattiel, who played for the Gators. That's why I remember him, small little guy. Vance Johnson. Didn't have Shannon Sharp till later in his career. Steve Sewell. He had nobodies. And he just basically won games on his own because he was so good. His arm was so freakish. He was very, very mobile, but he was not allowed to use his mobility in the ways Josh Allen did. I mean, he would run, but it was more or less because of a play breakdown. Here's an example. I remember when Mike Shanahan took over the Broncos job in '95. John Elway, who was a very much a gunslinger, freelance kind of quarterback, was having a hard time playing within the structure of a West Coast offense, and it took him like over half the season to get used to it. But even then, they had to still incorporate some of the things he liked to do within it because he wasn't that kind of quarterback. That's not him. He didn't have to be that razor fine. Yeah, I'm 40, Chris, so I remember him well, man. I remember Elway well. I mean, I remember watching Brett Favre the first time, and that's the quarterback that I see the most. But I think you get a bit more mobile version. Yeah, they got him. Well, they had him better players. Elway got Ed McCaffrey, Rod Smith, Shannon Sharp was already there. He had Terrell Davis, and he had more talent, and his time came. So I give him credit, but the offensive line, I mean, lots of Bills fans wanted to put Dion. I'm back to the Bills. Lots of Bills fans were plugging Dion Dawkins at guard. I say he's the left tackle. That's where he's been lining up. Feliciano's been at center because of injuries. That was interesting. Long is playing guard, but I think in the regular season, Long will be the backup guard center. That's just right now. That's what I feel. I don't know how that happens, but Feliciano's a 3-year deal with the Bills, so Long does too, but he's got a little quick out, no dead money at all. So it could be just we'll see where he goes. Ford's been lining up with the ones at right tackle. That's interesting. So again, I think this is going to play out, but they really need to get that line settled. The 5 guys playing together full go as much as possible in these OTAs where there's not much, if any, contact at all, but definitely in training camp. I think he's got. I think he's his own entity. He's got a huge arm. He's got a lot of mobility. He's got tons of size. He's a fiery leader. He's a lot more of a competitive jock than he lets off or he gives off in his press conferences. He's one of the guys, and I think that the only quarterback that I could remember being one of the guys and everybody universally really liked, I think, was Fitz. I don't know because Tyrod was so low key. He played hard. He put his body on the line. Definitely, he did that. He just didn't have the skills to take the team to where we all wanted it to go. But I think Fitz was the guy that everybody liked. Like you hear about, Eric Wood loved Fitz, Kyle Williams loved Fitz, Fred Jackson loved Fitz, Stevie Johnson loved Fitz. For some reason, they all love Fitz, and I just think because he played so much above what his physical ability had, and he always put his body on the line. Well, we all know Morse is going to be the center. We know Dawkins is. I think I could. I'm pretty much going to put Dawkins in Penn right now. I saw the guy play well. I just think that the offensive line as a whole was terrible. It just wasn't him. Losing solid veterans that played on his right really, really hurt him. Really, really hurt him, as well as the offensive line. He had nobody to lean on. He was kind of a man on an island, playing one of the hardest positions on the line. It was tough. But Ford, Morse, Dawkins, and then the two guard spots. I think Feliciano gets one of those spots. And the other one's going to be interesting. I don't know where it goes. Is it Spain? I mean, is Nseki good enough to make Ford move inside for the meantime? Waddell is good enough to be the swing tackle for New England. He's definitely good enough to be the swing tackle for the Bills. That's for sure. That's one thing I do know. Yeah, Milano's been out there. He's a worker. He's a guy who just fits the Bills DNA. The Bills DNA. I try to fit the Bills DNA. Guys, the guys who follow me on Instagram and fucking, I fucking, bullshit, do my thing on. They see me in the gym all the time, see my, not out fucking around, drinking, partying, nothing against that, but I try to have that process DNA. But yeah, but in all seriousness, though, it's good to hear about your young quarterback making those kind of plays and making wow throws. Like wow throws. Like you get tons of media like, whoa, this guy is like slinging it. And you saw him. He's being decisive. He's just throwing the ball and just letting it rip. And I love hearing that, man. Yeah, incognito. Yeah, that whole situation is that's their issue in Oakland. So I'll leave that there. The Bills have their own things to work on. I think it's going to be Levi Wallace. I think Levi Wallace, that's his job. Levi Wallace played well last year. He had a few little things, but he was an undrafted rookie thrust in there because of injuries and people retiring. And he played out of everybody who manned that position, whether it was Gaines, whether it was Philip Gaines, who was a catastrophe. Remember those 3 straight pass interferences in the Texans game? Was it 3 in that game and 2 straight? Vontae Davis was a nightmare. So everybody who played outside there, other than him, they had no business being out there. He was by far the best. I think EJ Gaines is, but EJ Gaines being back, I think is going to be big. I think if they can spot him, try to keep him healthy, play him where they need to play him, backup slot, that cornerback position. That guy made plays on the ball, forced turnover, and plays hard. I'll never forget him hurting his hamstring and like basically still running to force a fumble in Atlanta that the Bills recovered. It was a wow play for me. I really, really enjoyed him as a Bill, and I'm glad that they were able to get him back. Do you think Josh Allen? Do I think it was racially motivated? Those issues, see, for me, I'm not afraid to talk about those issues because I just come to find everybody's going to find a reason to get offended anyway. I think that they're a very liberal, and I don't get into politics, but they're a very liberal run network. Um, just like Fox. Fox doesn't talk about Kaepernick. Fox doesn't really. They very much pump up the American flag because they're more of a right wing run network, and obviously CBS and all and a few of the others are not. But I think there was a component of that. I think it was a very fashionable time to criticize the whole black white quarterback thing because of the Kaepernick was the lightning rod, and it was very easy to and of course the Bills fans were being criticized for being the most critical of Kaepernick when he came to Buffalo in 16. They were the most loud against him, and that's to me that it happens a lot of times. You hear it. I mean, I live in a very liberal place here in North New Jersey, New York. It's very liberal. It's very diverse. It's a big community of Latin American, a lot of multicultural. But yeah, I think so. I think there was a little component of that. It was very easy. Josh Allen, big white kid from wherever. But that kind of stuff, it doesn't really have much teeth, though, at the end of the day. So I don't really worry about it. it yeah, he was impressive. I mean, I'm glad that he's back. I'm glad that he's back. So I'm just trying to read some of these so I can answer some of them. Who do actually? Yeah, they don't watch any of the Bills games. That's the thing. Like I get irritated, but I always got to remember these people do not watch the games. They've proven it time and time again that they do not watch the games. So it's like I'm not even when they'll sit there. They all sat there and told us till they were blue in the face, told that Tyrod was good. But enough of that. Back to like the current Bills, the Bills that matter. Allen, hearing that he's just playing well in an OTA setting is good. Granted, it's an OTA setting, but still better than hearing airmail passes, hospitality tents, hitting cameramen in the stomach. The Kelly Pagula happened to duck out of the way of passes, shit like that. So that's definitely good. Yeah, they pretty much there's certain sites that do that. Pro Football Talk does that. They kind of poach all the team sites and then they'll kind of spin it out. They won't really add context to what was said for the clickbait. So you can click on their links and get their site traffic. You got to always remember that's what's going on too. Is a lot of these sites, Rodak will do that. He'll subtweet. He'll hyperlink his ESPN shit, so you have to click on that link to read the rest of what he's saying just to create traffic. Yeah, I heard Singletary looks good. I'll dip in and out of the topic I'm talking about to answer the chats because that's important to me to answer the chats. Yeah, I don't mind him, but he's a little bit of a spin doctor himself. I know he's on there with Sims, and I know Sims is a big fan of Josh Allen because he's more of an old school quarterback kind of guy in the sense that he likes the big quarterbacks with the big arm, and he feels like that was the guy he liked. Yo, what's up, dude? How are you, man? That's a cool name you got there. Is that Greek? Yeah, man. I love coming in here to talk Bills with you guys. I didn't know if I'd catch anybody. It was 10:30 now. There's lots of crazy weather going on with tornado watches and all kinds of shit going on everywhere. So I hope everybody's okay. Turkish. Okay, I knew it was in that region, but I didn't want to offend. That's cool, man. Bills everywhere. Bills fans everywhere. I'm Russian, Puerto Rican. Got a lot of Bills, Italian, Irish, Italian, Polish, Turkish. We got everybody here. Um, nah, the injuries won't kill us, but I just don't want them. I don't want any long-term injuries, man. I don't want to hear about any ligaments or it's bad enough Croft broke his foot and the same foot. Like I'm a realist. I try to be a pragmatist. I'm not counting him to start the regular season. I think he's a PUP candidate who we might not see till week 7. So I'm a little worried about that. I don't know. I don't know where you are at. what's I'm in North New Jersey. I got Jets fans, Giant fans. I know Cowboy fans, Eagles fans, Giants fans. I Redskin fans, Viking fans. I know every kind of fan over here. Yeah, I would have liked to seen him. I'd like to see him play, man. They signed him. I'd like to see him in there. It just sucks. I don't like hearing about any of the guys going down that's not in a meaningful game. I understand injuries are going to happen, but I don't root for it. But Beasley, I'd like to see him get in there sooner. He's a twitch guy. He's a shifty guy, so I can understand the core muscle, the sports hernia surgeries can be. You want to tend to err on the side of caution with a guy like him. It's not a big guy to begin with, so I'd rather him. You go chill over there because I think he's going to be really important to this Bills offense. He's going to be the guy that's going to move the chains, be a security blanket for Allen. He's going to be a pesky son of a bitch in the middle of the field on switch releases, those quick little rub routes. He's going to just get open. He catches the ball. Remember that touchdown he caught in the back of the end zone against the Giants for the Cowboys was an amazing catch. The guy is sure-handed as shit. So I think he's going to be really vital to this offense. Do you still think Shady gets – I don't know, man. With him, it's weird because the organization talks up Gore big time. They talk up Singletary big time, and rightfully so. Singletary is a guy they drafted in the third round. Bean is the guy they said that he was the funnest to watch on tape. Yeah, he's a young guy. He played in the Pro Bowl. He was a special teamer himself, so hopefully he gets the unit better, man. But yeah, I just hope that. And also, number 32. I don't think the Bills go out of their way to give away 32, and the number means nothing to me. To me, the number means nothing to me. It's a jersey number. First and foremost, it's a jersey number, okay? The person who the jersey was being held in trust or sort of half out of respect for, no thank you. You will not hear a whim from me about that piece of crap. He's a blight against the organization. He's a black stain. His name should not be on the wall there at all in New Era Field. His name should not be there. It should be removed. They should put Kyle Williams and Fred Jackson's name there and get his name the fuck off. I don't like retiring jerseys, to be honest with you. It's the only thing, one of the few, if not the only things the organization, the Raiders, do right. The Raiders do not retire jersey numbers at all. I'm a Yankee fan, okay? They have too many damn numbers retired. I hate it. Every number from 1 to 10 to it's just, come on, after 25, 50 years, reissue the number again. Just stop with that stuff. I think that's possible, but I also like the fact that a guy was like, hey, I want that number. I want to play in it. It's a number. It's a jersey number. It's a decent number, too. Decent number for running back. So he's going to be a special team starter, a guy who's going to play a lot. I think he plays on all 4 units. I think he makes the roster. And he'll be on the 46th game day active. I really think Sonoris Perry is going to be on this team. So I get my head around it now. Am I going to go? I got to go to one of them. I would sacrifice not going to either to go to a Bills game in Buffalo. I need to go to a Bills game in Buffalo. Oh my God, Nancy! I remember that, Chris. Nancy is married and divorced. She's has a daughter. We were living together for a little while. You're not pissing me off, man. She's a good good girl though. We're still friends. So yeah, I remember exactly who you're talking about. I'm done with those, man. I hate reaching into the past. I was never one of those people, you know, and I criticized the Bills organization for a long time under the old regime, the Brandon, particularly the whole brand, which was up into the Pagulas bought them. They turned the organization into a museum, bro. It was a museum. Come here and look at the things that used to be nice and good. They're in the glass over there. Just don't touch them. They're over there. pretty much nothing else is going to be good. We don't know if we're going to put anything else in those cases, but all that stuff was really, really cool. Now, fuck that shit. I always said, you know what? It's good. I remember it. I was a kid. 4 straight. They didn't fucking win the big game, man. They didn't do it. I don't want to celebrate that. At the end of the day, it was still the biggest loss you could have. Yeah, it's not a holy shroud. It's not whatever the fuck that Jesus cloth is supposed to be. It's ridiculous. I just don't think that it means much. Yeah, it is. You're right, Trevor. Number 17. 17. I'm not a buyer of jerseys anyway. I don't believe in wearing another man's name on my back. So I'm nothing. Not much snarl. Just talking about OTAs, some of the shitty little bumps and bruises, injuries that they've gotten. But Allen sounded like he really fucking played awesome. Is nice to hear. The running back conundrum. Bean just talks up Gore, talks up Singletary. They give Perry the number 32. He wants it. He's going to be a special teamer. I think he plays on this team a lot. I don't know. Shady would not be an inactive guy. You don't have a $6 million, an $8 million inactive. You don't do it. I just don't understand where they're going to go with him. I think they keep DeMarco too. I think they keep DeMarco. He plays special teams for them. People don't remember that about DeMarco. He plays, I think, on 2 or 3 of the units. He plays on definitely 2 of the units. He comes in situationally for them. He was an empty back a lot. I remember he caught a few of those long passes that Allen he caught one in the Dolphins game, and he caught one in the Chargers game. I remember in the Dolphins game, Allen hit him in stride. I really think he's going to be on this team. Yeah, if McCoy isn't starting, he's not on the 53. There's no way he's going to be standing on the sideline in street clothes. Do you think he's going to like that? Hell no. Yo, definitely, Chris. I mean, I'm nobody special. I'm just a Bills fan. I'll always say I'm not here to be a celebrity. I'm just here to be friends with you guys and genuine friends. I'll never want a dime from you. I'll never try to monetize this. There's no production value here. I'm in my fucking room talking to other Bills fans. This is awesome. I never would want a dime or dollar. I never want to monetize this. I like it the way it is, nice and pure. It's, the whole reason I started it many, many years ago. Yeah, 5. It's weird. There's people that are very. I know Sal on WGR is very stern against the Bills staying with McCoy, counting on him as being the starting running back. But Yeldon a 2-year deal. Gore's a 1-year, but I mean more or less because of his age. Singletary, they draft 3rd round for a running back anymore is a big investment for me personally. For me, that's a big investment. If you're unless you have a quarterback that's so established and most of your other positions settled, and there's a running back with such a high caliber talent you, for whatever reason, can't pass up. I don't see the reason why in the 1st round, but still, man, Perry, I don't know, man. It's gonna be that's gonna be where are the reps going? How are they gonna work that out? Yeah, they are. I've seen so many. The Bills have been victimized by replaceable running backs. Yeah, he is. He's talented. He blocks well. He catches really, really well. You know what? I reminded of TJ Yeldon. Do you remember the EJ Manuel game in London against the Jaguars, where EJ fucking basically gave the game to them in the first quarter? It was just the most. It was EJ. He brought them back. And then remember Gus Bradley, they were running Yeldon down the Bills' throat, all the way down to the 1. They pull Yeldon out to bring in Toby Gerhart. 4 straight plays. They stopped Gerhart. They forgot about Yeldon, the guy who carried him down there, brought in Toby Gerhart, and he just could not get in the end zone. Joe, I said the same thing. It's not funny. I told a Bills guy the same thing, that if you look at the talent, the physical talent, I think I feel that Tyree Jackson, an undrafted free agent, has more physical ability than EJ Manuel did. I've never seen a guy lollipop of a big quarterback play so small, so small. He would throw the ball like toss it. He wouldn't fucking drive the ball. He wouldn't throw big. He played small. He ran small. And then once he got hit on the knee in Cleveland, he just shut it down. He just started being scared. And then Marone had him into a twitching little nub. I want players to piss on themselves, and they go against the Bills as long as we fix the penalty issue. Allen improves. Yeah, and you know what's funny? We haven't even talked about the defense yet. Ed Oliver, like I hope this kid turns out to be really, really good. There's a couple of comps I want you guys to look at if you guys aren't old enough to remember these players. DeMarco Farr, a little bit with the Rams, similar size, but more specifically John Randall with the Vikings. His running mate was Henry Thomas. Those three guys, watch those guys play. I think that's what Ed Oliver is. Not so much Donald, but I think that those guys are more or less than what Oliver's comp might be. But Oliver, I want him to be his own player, and I want him to be great in and of himself. He makes a ton of plays in the backfield in the run game. That's huge for me. People get caught up in sacks and stuff. I want to see him pressure the quarterback, make him move, make him have to make throws he doesn't want to make, and I want to see him make plays on running backs in the backfield, blow up running plays. He was great at that in Houston. Yeah, he was awkward, Joe. He was really awkward. Trent Edwards was just nervous. He was scared. Once he got hit by Adrian Wilson in Arizona, he was done. He was hard. I don't know what happened to him, man. Wade. I think Wade is a guy they'll just have on the practice squad because he's eligible to be on the practice squad. He doesn't count against the practice squad. I just think it's kind of like a public relations thing that they have an international guy. I don't expect much of him at all. I just hope the defense comes out strong because remember we were counting on the defense last year. They had a really bad game. Of course, the offense was terrible in Baltimore. The first half against the Chargers at home was terrible. Then they settled it down. They had another hiccup against the Colts in Indy. You had Derek Anderson throwing interceptions and couldn't stop the running backs that day. It was just an overall bad. Yeah, I love the idea. I couldn't believe they got him. Like if you would have told me 2.5 years ago, Josh Ed Oliver be a Bill, I would tell you the Bills had the first overall pick or top 3 pick. There's no way at 9. Wow, that's crazy. Tentative Edwards, captain checkdown, man. What a guy. Yeah, he was done. I mean, it was crazy. I'd never seen a quarterback flip script that much at all. These guys are statues stretching or what? They're in the anthem. It's not a big deal. I remember back in the day, the anthem was on time. These guys, yeah, I don't know. I like players with personality. I don't get caught up in those topics and stuff so much. People kind of read too much into things. Um, I don't know, body language and stuff. Sometimes I read too much into body language. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, when remember last year when Josh Allen was trying to amp up the defense and get them hyped up, and he's like, "Yeah, motherfucker," he was doing that. Shit was amping me up. When I saw that on the broadcast, I was fucking losing my mind, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hate to put it like that, Caracas, but yeah, he kind of did. I felt bad for the guy too because I really had high hopes from him, man. Anthems in hockey are big because I think there's really an international pride that permeates in hockey more so than football because football is predominantly played by Americans, but you get the Canadians, the Swedes, the Finns, the Russians, the Americans. You get it's a huge international flavor in hockey, and they really really get it. They really want it, you know. So some guys, it's all about how they perform at the end of the day. It's all about how they perform. If they're great on the field and they do their thing and they win, that's what matters to me. I've seen guys like, dude, give get all amped and give speeches and blah 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 blah, but they weren't much of anything once the game was on. But I don't know how you guys feel about the number 32, about the injuries, about I know everybody's excited about hearing about Allen, but I'm very excited. Um, and I know it's early and I have to like calm down, but it's good. It's good. Just no injuries and just keep going. With all these little nicks and bumps, man, it's a good thing they got that sports performance center up and running because those guys are going to need it. Those guys are going to be in those treatment rooms in there, whatever they got going on. They need them because I need these guys to stay whole. Do I think Darnold will improve? I mean, I think he'll improve. How much is up to Gase, Darnold himself. They didn't do much to improve their offensive line. I'd be worried about the Jets if they only brought in O'Smalley on the trade and signed Tom Compton, and they drafted a guy Adogba, but I don't know, man. It's a tumultuous situation with the Jets. I can't make heads or tails out of it. I really can't. If you guys curse, don't worry, I'll show it. I always say that, so I don't know why it has this fucking thing here. If you guys want to throw F-bombs in the chats or whatever, as long as you're respectful towards each other, that's cool. I try to kick trolls out if they come in and start to agitate and be dicks. But that's what sports is. It's banter, it's fun until it gets personal, and I don't like that. He did. He threw some nice passes. The one play that ended up being the winning touchdown, I felt like if Milano would have stayed healthy, maybe if there was a little bit more of a better athlete, because I remember Kyle had him running. He ran back across the field. But if it's Ed Oliver, I think he makes that play, sacks him. I remember he threw the touchdown. And then they ended up, Trenton Cannon ended up, or was Elijah, whatever his name is, he ended up running in the touchdown at the end. But yeah, they do. They definitely do. Hamburgers, F-bombs, apple pie, and what else? I need something else. Yeah, it is. It's way better. Dude, I agree with you, Eric, 100%. So I don't care. Positives are good anytime. Better than struggles. I always reference this. The best thing we ever heard universally come from like Bill's media. And we always got defensive because we would hear critical things about EJ. It's because EJ sucked. EJ was not a good player. He's retired before the age of 30 for a reason. He's not any good. He was no longer going to get any opportunities to be a quarterback in the NFL, whether it be in a backup capacity or even nobody's even bothered with him as a third stringer. He is who he is. We would hear about like, damn, he's not good. He's not good. And we would get defensive. We would be like, shit, come on, give the kid a chance. But he wasn't any good. And I remember the practice in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. They had the joint practice with the Steelers in, I believe it was 2014. And they said, oh my God, EJ was great. He looked like a really good quarterback that day. And that was it. That was the only time I saw like Biscaglia, Fairburn, Tyler Dunn was covering the team at the time, Tim Graham. I forget who else was out there that day. But yeah, all those guys said he looked great, which was like, wow, really? EJ looks good? I'll never forget that. I just remember the Twitter timeline. I just remember it like it was yesterday. Yeah, man, it was more embarrassing than that. I think they had gotten just tired of him looking so bad and he knew that Orton was there to take his job and he just crumbled. He crumbled under the pressure of it. Throwing that interception to fucking JJ Watt though really sealed the deal. That was like, oh my God. It was like really, really bad. Yeah, man, I'll give Bills fans this. They're pretty tuned into their team. They're passionate about their team. They're not conscient. They're not like passive observers or just kind of like, you know, they're just there for, hey, it's a football game. There's beer, there's food, there's people. No, they go in because they love the team. They know about the team. They want to see the team win. I've seen plenty of fans, they lost, but I had a good time. I hung out. Like, nah, man, Bills fans are pissed. They're upset. They're emotional. And they want to see the team win. They're fully emotionally invested, and you get that with the smaller market teams. You don't get that with the big market teams. Trust me, I'm in a market with two big market teams, and it's not the same level of passion. It really, really isn't. I don't mean to be biased, but it truly isn't. LA lost two teams in 1 year. Two teams moved out of the second biggest media market in America because there was no interest. There was no passion. The Rams and the Raiders, how they ended up getting two teams back, it's because the greedy ass NFL twisted it and poked it and prodded it that way. But that's always going to be tuned up. I mean, the Pagulas were not happy about Richie Incognito. He participated in the Barstool documentary about the tables and the dildos and all that stuff. They were kind of irritated that he did that, and they perpetuated that. It is, man. I'm okay, Chris. My first, I'll say my Monday is definitely well. The rest of my Sunday is shit. Monday really, really, it sucks. Tuesday I'm sulking, but at midday Tuesday I'm thinking about, okay, it's almost Wednesday, and then I give myself 48 hours to be pissed off. Like the players get a 24-hour rule, I get 48 hours to be pissed off. The Portland, they have a I kind of I had a soft spot for the Trailblazers. I wanted them to win, but I knew they weren't going to beat the Warriors. But I was shocked they got swept. 8:20 another Thursday, so we lose on a Sunday. I wouldn't feel human until Wednesday. Yeah, me too, man. I'm 40 now, and I would just want to go to sleep after they lost a game. I'd sit there and like, but I'm not one of those assholes. Don't talk to me. Stay the fuck away from me. I'll come on here and I'll talk to you guys. I'll vent and I'll bitch, and you guys vent and bitch back to me. That therapeutic, right? It's really, really enjoyable. And you can tell good fan bases over the TV. When I watch Bills games on TV, you can you can hear it. You can really, really hear it. You want to know who has one of the quietest fucking atmospheres in the NFL? And they've seen good football in the last 20 years. Great quarterback play and winning a couple of Super Bowls. Indianapolis, you could hear a pin drop in that fucking place. A pin drop. It's unbelievable. I mean, I don't think you wanted to kill yourself, Trevor, but you just felt like Jesus Christ. Like you just, how do you lose a fucking game? Shit, they had 5 turnovers in that game. I remember they had 6 against the Jets and they barely won that game. Mark Sanchez, they even picked off the punter in that game, John Wenling, in a special teams play. It was like a fake punt or field goal or something, and they damn near lost that game. That was the lowest of the low as a Bills fan, and there's been many lows seeing them play games in Toronto. That was pretty tough. Yeah. Kelsey, I remember Chris Kelsey catching one of the interceptions in the end zone. George Wilson, I think, took one back to the house. Um, John DeGiorgio picked one off. They still couldn't fucking win the game. They couldn't get one field goal, one touchdown to win the damn game. The most hapless I ever saw the Bills look, I've seen them look hapless many a times. Definitely some of the Jerron days, definitely with Lossman at quarterback, then the later Edwards, some of those eras. Yeah, McGee took one back to the house. They didn't score an offensive touchdown. They didn't score an offensive touchdown that day. They got 3 touchdowns and a field goal. That was it. But it was a kick return, 2 INT returns. That was it. I remember a game in Miami that Vontae Davis in his rookie year, pick 6, Trent Edwards, and they just beat the shit out of them that day. Dolphins ran all over the Bills, manhandled them. It was in the 09 season. That was just terrible, depressing. That 09 season was really, really depressing. The second half collapse in 08 was depressing. The Cleveland, I think it was the Sunday or Monday night game was, oh my God. Trent with the 3 interceptions. I remember they didn't run Marshawn Lynch, and he was just running all over them. And I remember the Jets that year where they chose to roll JP out instead of run Marshawn, and it was like 3rd and 1 or 2nd and 1, and he got strip sack, fumbled, and returned for a touchdown by I think it was by Chris Jenkins or somebody. It was just terrible, terrible. Yeah, Duran era was terrible, man. I don't know how old you were when that was going on, Eric. You were probably a lot younger in your teens, and it was just depressing. Yeah, the 6-3 game. I mean, it was the fucking Robert, the Roscoe Parrish botched fumble, a botched punt, and they scored, or they ended up kicking a field goal. It was just a bad. Yeah, yeah, that New England game. There's been so many bad. I just think losing in Toronto to Atlanta was tough. To Atlanta and Toronto was tough. EJ played okay that game. You had the Chandler fumbled and the Stevie fumble, and it was just, it was just ugh. It was just ugh. That was a tough one for me. That one really, really stung for me, that game. So like they had that game, and I don't know where they were coming from. I think they had just gotten their teeth kicked in Tampa Bay by the Buccaneers. It was this really bad game. I remember Mike Evans catching a touchdown in that game over, I forget. I think it was Roby Coleman. Yeah, man, it really, really is. It really, really is. Yeah, I mean, Marshawn. It was just a bad time for the whole organization. I would have loved to have seen Marshawn be a Bill and stay a Bill and have some of those iconic runs in a Bills uniform. But just the organization was in such a bad state at the time. I don't think it was ready to handle anything. Yeah, and Marshawn, he did what he did to himself. He hit the girl. The media kind of got mad at him. He didn't want to be there. It was just, well, that was on Donahoe for not doing that. But I won't talk about the past. I want to talk about now. Now. Dude, guys, all you guys, everyone in the chat room, and I'll end on this. It's an exciting time to be a Bills fan. We might be on the verge of a shift for this organization. We already know they've cleaned up the building. They've renovated the building. They did everything I asked for. Remember that video after Marone quit? I said they need to fumigate the building. They need to tear it down. Well, they essentially did. New training center, new this, new that, renovated New Era Field, did more renovations. So this was that. Finally got a head coach in there that's got some fucking structure, has a plan, a GM that he's in line with that has a plan. He carries out his word to the fucking letter. So I'm really, we all have pretty much a young quarterback that I think a lot of Bills fans believe in. Fuck what the national people think, the analytics people think, whatever the people that have this. No, go by what we think, what we feel, what we've seen, and I'm really, really excited. Yeah, we've had a bunch of clowns, that would see a weak organization run by clowns that were easy to come in and poach. The drunk Whaley, the sexual harasser Russ Brandon, the poacher that Russ Brandon was, he's sneaking around getting the trust of a dying old man. That's pretty low in my opinion. We saw what happened to him. What's up, Scotland? How are you doing, bro? Old-fashioned trousers. I kind of remember them. They're kind of high suspenders. But yeah, Bills fans, we might be on the verge of seeing something, real. And let's be modest. An amazing 9-7, not a weak 9-7. I'm talking like one where they're in 3 or 4 of those games that they could win, like back in '89. That was like that. They just got into the playoffs, but there was, like, you could argue there was 2 or 3 games on that schedule that they could have and should have won. But then they finally came together in the playoffs and played really, really good and got to the AFC Championship game. Or if they get to 10-6, and maybe they do miss the playoffs, but you see, like, man, this team is coming. This team is coming. Well, I think they got all the Carney Barkers out, all the guys that were in there to just get their check, keep their area of control, from the PR guy, from the trainer, from Russ to some of the other guys. There's nobody left there. There's nobody left there. The only guy who's left there is Overdorf, because he decided to play nice. He's like, okay, I'm gonna play nice. I'll do what I'm told. Yeah, you gotta wait. You gotta wait to see what happens, man. You just gotta watch games and see what happens, Eric. That's all. Because winning is all that's gonna matter, man. Winning is all that's gonna matter. Yeah, K Beats, it's all right, bro. One of the most exciting games I watched as a Bills fan in '89, after the Kelly run in for the touchdown in Miami, right, to win the game. Last minute, they go to Houston. I watched Jim Kelly throw for like 380 yards and 5 touchdowns against Moon, who threw for like 380 yards and 3 touchdowns, and the Bills won the game like 47-41 or 47-44. It was like, oh wow, this is what I fell into. This is I like, oh man, I love this. And imagine a Bills quarterback having that game now. We might get to see it. We might get to see it. Yep. You know who that was? Vic Carucci who started the Bickering Bills article for the Buffalo News. Oh, you were born in '90. It's all right, man. You might be seeing your first great era now, and I hope you do. I hope we all do, and we can all enjoy it together. All right, guys, have a great one. Take care. It's 11 o'clock. I'm gonna take it down for the evening. It was great talking to you. I just wanted to jump on live, come up, say what's up, talk a little Bills, OTAs. Yeah, rest of the week, man. I'll see you guys. You catch me on Instagram, wherever, on Twitter. Same name, Vicious155. Just, being my goofy self in the gym or talking shit on sports. Not like trash talk, but my little takes and opinions about whatever sport's on. And, you know, take care, guys. Love you all. Go Bills. Always. Eric, Caracas, Joe, Snarl, Trevor. Remember the old-fashioned trousers who came in quick. You guys are all great. K Beats, Christopher, everybody who comes in here, you know who you are. You know who you are. Chris, Lentz, thanks so much, guys. I really, really appreciate you all so, so much. You have no idea. Thank you.